Hello and welcome to this afternoon's video. Let's start it within one that I haven't shown, CRED, ticker symbol LBA. And let's just go over this pretty much period by period. To start off with, this is back in the day or that of less than 2 months ago. Price action at the time was 232. It was staying, well, since its decline, everything was pretty much below the 18 lows, bear market. And when you're staying below it, that's not what it needs to do for band to flatten out. So we would wait some time, and a green candle can help, but it needs to hold its move, and holding is staying above the 18 lows, even if it doesn't break out. So in that period, it did. That one, and not only did it do that, but it also made a statement that it wants to attempt to break out of it. Thus, okay, I think stage one's complete, band flattened out, but it was complete here too. And this wasn't big enough for established resistance. And you could say this was, and it kind of broke this established resistance here, but then it didn't. It failed breakout, fast move lower. But where we were here, okay, did the next day get above? The answer was huge. I mean, that was a monstrous move, a big statement. And it's also resistance established. But it could go higher. We'll just move the line up if it does. You still got to come back to that band, either that through price or through time, and it does that the next day. And a little bit of volatility, always nice to see that, showing strength here amongst the 18 average of highs back in February. Comes back down, and what do we see here? That was a break of that established resistance. But the price action remains below where the break line was after the close. Definitely a statement. And if you're in the business trying to buy on these breaks, and if you bought three in here, where's your stop going to be? Because technically speaking, coming back, not a surprise, especially when it happens fast. Because it didn't hold and stay above on that gain by any means, at least not that day. But if you were, say, the type of trader that would normally buy here, normally not stop out at 313, well, if you were comfortable buying here and you're like, you know what, I like the setup as it was. I'm glad it came down to 313, some might say, because you're able to buy it cheaper. Next day, you get a pause move from the gain. You resisted the previous level of resistance, but you also supported the 18 highs in the previous level of high resistance points of end of February, start of March. Next day, huge statement move. If this isn't, I mean, this picture right there says, oh, buy, sell, hold kind of deal. Well, obviously, I think the answer is pretty self-forward in here, but you have continuation of the move in here. And now 3 days holding and staying above that point. Not quite here, but when you see something like this and establish this level of resistance, there's a good chance, more times than not, that it could have another leg higher than that. Sideways candle, holding in that move, closing nice, and then the next day, very productive candle. This thing is poised for a big move whenever it's ready. And even more so here. The viewing of this chart as it shows, especially within this 18, to me, gave clear indication that it was going to look good. And the deal looked even better here. You come up to this previous high, the next day you extend it. You had a retracement, we can see within the red move down to 360, but it retraced back up to 395. Pause day, and then it went down to 378 the next. So you're in some time to think, man, I think this is ready to go. You got another great buy opportunities, two more pause days, another one, and here we have it. Clear break above what is now this level of resistance. What did the next day have in store? Well, 526, and it wasn't over. 627 up to 7, it's not over. Nice sideways day. New high. And there's the new high going all the way up today right now to 1229. Markets are ready to go. They're ready to go. And this has a lot of similar look, Bitcoin that is, to how cred looked before it really got going. How it had this one little move in here, nice little high price, came back and then had this nice little grindy waypoint to it. And now we've broken this high. If this bullish setup to me seems very poised and ready to go to that next level of the mid 6,000 area. I got priced in at 6,341.9. And that's because 4,800 and a half, well, it didn't show any resistance here. And thus, and I've said this before and I'll continue to say it again, if I don't see resistance or support where it's supposed to happen, and it's not sometimes it will, sometimes it won't, then it's going to have a fast move more times than not to the next one. And that's what I'm seeing here. The daily chart only showed a couple liftoff days from the 48.41 point. Right in here, those are the two liftoff days, and it's been nicely up ever since. So short term, there has not been much resistance at 48.5. And all I can continue to say is that the move is live with high probability of making it decently further, at least probably around 1,000 more basis points or dollars. And Litecoin on the daily, 98.27. We have this several days of really going sideways from this move. 3 days getting back. This is like pause day number 4 in a row from this 3 day move, 4 day move. Still not enough to come to the 18 average within that of price or even that of time, albeit close in both. But as I've been saying for this for a while, I had a strange suspicion that it was going to make a move, and I'm even thinking decently piercing above 125. Don't got a line in here, but that's where I have the next key Fibonacci point. So I would not be surprised at all in the next upcoming weeks, whether it be this one, next week, one after that. If I see 140, 145, 146, somewhere in there. And I'll call that a now what question mark situation, which means, okay, you've hit that intended target that I expect. And as we've seen with the Bitcoin price at 4,800, well, you're supposed to have resistance here. That's what I'm going to be looking for. And then I'll gauge it if it is. But if it's not, I'm going to have to assess where the next resistance level is, because that's where it'll probably fastly be going to next. And I'm going to finish it off within theta, because there are times when I really have to state major Pierce Extra if it's going to go, because right now, if this is the bottom on theta crossed against BTC, that is a large Pierce above. Very rare if crypto does that. It can happen. So the probability odds for me here, as I see theta come up to the 18 highs on the previous day yesterday and rejecting it pretty quickly right now, is that it's going to fall below the lows, break down below this few time, couple hit time level of support, and pierce below this 2040 level. I would be suspecting somewhere around 18. I mean, it could even come down towards like 16, 15 even, just because that's a big key previous level for where it came from in the 16s. But I'm going to have to definitely think around 18 and a quarter, 18 and a half at least would be my intended target for it as its next breakdown. Of course, what you do is always your own risk and your own reward. And I wish sometimes I would take my own risks and rewards as I see them. Because one of the things I wanted to do during this 3 day increase day was I figured, okay, 3,600 was the area of resistance where I wanted, that was my intended level to sell. Which, of course, I did. But I was thinking sell it all. And let's have some fun thereafter, because if I'm right and there's resistance here, ooh, I could make a lot more profit. And yes, I would have had this move in here, and given the fact that it goes down to 3,000, that means some of the stuff I bought at 336 I'd buy back at 3, which would have enabled me to sell at one higher high, which is what it had. But then buy back here at 29, it comes back up to 37, that would have been some more selling. Come back down, and a lot of buying along the way, but I obviously would have made a good trade. Of course, the risk reward on that, the risk is that it just keeps soaring high, and I really lose out on major profits I knew were very probable for the long run, as it was anyway. Thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.